Their vision is we should have no rules. We shouldn't have to stop fighting for anyone else. We want to continue the war. Matthew Miller, who was Joe Biden's State Department spokesman, said recently that when he was in government, he heard Netanyahu say this war will go on for decades. So what do you use? Decades. Long war.
So if Hamas leadership is there, does that justify the bombing?
No, because they're there because we wanted them there. And you can't just bomb any sovereign country where there's people you don't like or you're opposed to. I mean, this is a very dangerous road we've gone down over the last couple of years. Right? We've burned down international law, the Geneva Conventions, all the norms and precedents. I mean, you don't think people around the world are watching this saying, why can't I do what Israel does? Like all the idea that we're going to go to Russia and be like, you can't bomb hospitals in Ukraine. Putin say, why? Israel can bomb hospitals. I'm bombing terrorists in those hospitals. Like the arguments that they've deployed to justify torture, the bombing of civilian areas, that can be replicated by every quote unquote rogue state in the world. Why not? Very dangerous road. We spent 70 years, the United States, the UK, the West, building up the international order. It's all been burned down over the last 2 years for one guy, Netanyahu.
Now Ben Shapiro was here earlier this week. And you hit me.
Why you start laughing like that? Why you start giggling like that?
You gave a BS answer on genocide.
Oh yeah.
What exactly? What you want? We have a clip. You don't think what's happening in Gaza is a genocide?
Correct.
Okay, but the world's leading association of genocide scholars has declared that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza based off the pure definition of.
Well, it's not actually, if you read their actual study, it's not based on the quote-unquote pure definition of genocide. They don't actually even define genocide in the document. The question is not whether some sort of coterie of people who call themselves experts in an issue are quote-unquote experts on the issue. The question is whether the definition is met. The definition of genocide is not met in Gaza by any stretch of the imagination, and you can cite to me, a group that I hadn't heard of until 2 seconds ago, and nobody had heard of until 2 seconds ago, that voted in a particular way. That doesn't make a difference definitionally.
So what is a genocide to you?
A genocide is the attempt to forcibly destroy an entire population, which is not what has happened.
So it's not the attacks on like the personal facilities needed for like survival, like healthcare and educational institutions.
Well, again, Israel has shipped in more humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip than literally any army to a population that supports the enemy in literally all of human history. They've been shipping in about 4,400 calories per day per person into the Gaza Strip in the middle of a war in which the enemy is holding actual Israeli hostages underground who, as we've seen from some of the pictures, are actually starving.
Man, he's going crazy over there.
Carl, I think you're being generous. You said he gave you some bullshit on genocide. He gave you bullshit on the whole topic, right? He said we don't give them that much money. We give them $3 billion a year. We actually give them close to $4 billion a year, and last year we gave them $18 billion a year. He said they've been shipping in aid. You just played that clip. Israel doesn't ship in any aid. The aid comes from everyone else. He acts like Israel's giving the aid. It's international aid that Israel decides to switch on and off whenever it wants. But on the genocide question, it's funny that he kind of patronizingly says, these genocide scholars, they didn't give you the definition. And you rightly said, what's the definition? And he said, forcibly destroying a whole population. That is not the definition of genocide. The 1948 Genocide Convention gives us the definition of genocide. Article 2, it says very clearly that genocide is any of the following acts with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, religious, racial, or ethnic group. And one of those acts, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to the group, inflicting conditions of life on a group that cause its physical destruction, preventing births within that group, and taking children away from that group and giving it to another group. 5 conditions. Israel's met at least 4 of those 5 conditions by any sane description of what they've done in Gaza. It is a genocide based on those conditions. The Israelis are saying it's a genocide. Just listen to what they say. They say genocidal stuff all the time. And here's the worst part. Israeli, he brushes over the IAGS, some organization I've never heard of. Well, I'm sure they don't care that he's never heard of them. They are the International Association of Genocide Scholars. But let me just give for your listeners actual people who say it meets the definition. People like Omar Bartov, who is an Israeli Holocaust historian at Brown, wrote a New York Times op-ed saying it's a genocide. Daniel Blattman, Amos Goldberg, Israeli Holocaust historians at Hebrew University. They say it's a genocide in Gaza. Shmuel Liederman, all these Israeli scholars, Raz Siegel,